Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships. In today's video, we're going to take a look at our next community replay. And this one features Doyle from ZR playing in the Seattle, the Tier 9 American light cruiser. He's playing by himself, of course, because it's some ranked battle here on the map Warrior's Path. So if you'd like to send a replay into us, please send it to BIAworldofwarships, all lowercase, at gmail.com. Please include the replay file, post-game screenshots if you have them, a brief description of the battle, and then, if you'd like myself or Puddin to do the commentary, you can request for that in your submission too. So, Doyle's replay here in the Seattle. Well, I gotta tell you guys, this is one of the better ranked replays that I've seen, whether it be on Panzernacker's channel or somebody else's, and you're gonna get a pretty good masterclass here in the Seattle, the American cruiser that seems to be a fan favorite, at least with this ranked season. As we all know, ranked is Tier 9, and it is this game mode where you can pick up all of the different perks like extra health, better rudder shift, better concealment, etc. And, you know, it's ranked at the end of the day, something that I usually stay far away from, and everybody has their opinion about it. But regardless of that, what you're going to see here today is an excellent replay. And the Seattle is a great pick for this ranked season. It has very fast reloading guns. It has a decent amount of hit points to boot as well. It can get pretty good concealment if you get a concealment upgrade or two while you're sailing around. And of course, it also comes with the American light cruiser standard of hydroacoustic and radar. So you are able to push in and help root out those DDs. And it seems that this ranked season is pretty heavily favored towards destroyers when you have ships like the Jutland, the Black, the Fletcher, all very powerful Tier 9 destroyers in random battles, while they make good picks for the ranked game mode as well. But yeah, the Seattle is a great counter to them, and of course, because it has 152mm guns, if you do get IFHE, you are able to meet that 32mm threshold. Obviously, this is nothing new, but you can also burn down battleships with that penetration as well. So, Doyle's in a good ship, he's a good player, and he's going to have a really great result with this replay, so let's check it out and see what he can do. His initial positioning is pretty good. You can see that there's a couple of destroyers, the Chungmu and the Jutland, that are moving off to the south, out ahead of him. So, of course, he wants to be kind of close to be able to help support his DD brethren, and that's really what the Seattle does great. Now, we all know the big weakness of this ship. It has pretty pathetic turret angles, both when you're facing forward and when you're facing to the aft, or when you're running away, I should say. So it can be kind of tricky to use the gun angles, but you're going to see him kind of get around that, especially when his team is able to pick up some of the rudder shift upgrades that are on the map. Now, of course, unfortunately, with the replay file, you can't actually see the little meter on the bottom of the screen moving left and right as he's actually using his rudder, but you're going to notice the Seattle turned quite a bit. Now, he's in a little bit of a pickle. That one torpedo that just ran by, well, probably got him a little freaked out, so of course he has his hydroacoustic up, but you saw that he did get hard detected. And that Jutland, as he goes behind the island, was not exactly what was detecting him. There's another destroyer out there as well, so unfortunately Doyle is in a really bad spot, and if he continues turning full broadside to the right, he is going to eat shells from the Missouri, so he does have to turn in and try to dodge these shells, which he's actually able to do so, and he does get a fire on that guy right before he goes behind cover. It was the Black, however, that was spotting him, but fortunately the Black decided to smoke up. So Doyle is going to be able to get out of his really bad situation that he's in right now. And this really is the only mistake of the game that I can think of after I recorded it. The opening positioning was fine, but then the second spot that he moved to, well, Monka W. For those of you that use Discord, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But he's going to back himself up out of this situation and try to get out of dodge. He hasn't used his radar yet. Still has 4 charges worth of the radar. So he's going to be able to have plenty of radars for the later stages of the game when it's going to become imperative for the victory. Now you can see his friend in the Chungmu decided to smoke up in reverse. Not 100% sure what's going on there, but I digress. Doyle is going to, it seems, move into that guy's smokescreen, and a little bit of team play goes a long way. And whether it was an accidental team play or not, the Chungmu has provided some concealment for Doyle, so of course he's going to move in there, and he's going to start raining down fire on the enemy Musashi. And you can see with the reload at the bottom of the screen as he gets ready for his next salvo, 5.7 seconds. I'm fairly certain that's not with main battery mod 3. I don't know for sure. I actually haven't played the Seattle. But you can see that he's getting some really good DPM now on those enemy BBs, and also the Buffalo, as well as the Missouri. So a few good salvos there. Before he goes out of the smoke screen, there were torpedoes coming in too, so of course he had to get out of dodge. And you can see that his teammates continue to pick up a lot of these boosts. One is the consumable reload speed boost that he's got, and then of course he also has one of the rudder shift ones as well. So his Seattle is definitely turning a little bit tighter, and now the detection buff gets it down to 10.2 kilometers. And of course, if you get another couple of them, you are able to get to that range where you're able to use your radar from stealth. Now, he's got some shots here at the Jutland, who is going in a straight line for whatever reason, and that guy is losing a lot of health. Unfortunately, though, the Missouri comes around the corner just slightly under 10 kilometers, and I believe with this salvo here, he's going to land a pretty massive hit here into Mr. Doyle. The shell's coming in, and yep, no Citadels taken, but he eats over 15,000 points of damage, and unfortunately, he gets his A turret knocked out. So, yeah. Not looking too good from that salvo. It could have been much, much worse, but fortunately he was angled just enough where that BBAP was not able to slide into the Citadel. But still some very good pen damage. And of course, Doyle is now running away from this situation because being that close to a Missouri with the American battleships, the accuracy module, the improved accuracy module, it's going to be very difficult to dodge the shells. But right there, he actually manages to do so because somebody else picked up yet another rudder shift mod, and you can see that Seattle is actually turning very, very quickly. So he was able to dodge that second salvo from the Missouri, which is nice. And now he's going to get all of his guns to bear here on that Tier 8 American battleship. And, you know, something that a lot of people have noticed and told me when just discussing about the ranked season, you'll find a lot of battleships deciding to sit bow on like that. And again, with the penetration on these guns, you can really do some damage when they're just sitting there letting you farm. Now, what he was doing right there, he was hitting the M button just for a split second and then hitting it again so that you can go into that up-down view and you can look over islands, utilizing right there once again as he does it. Just to try to get a little bit better gauge of where to aim when you're lobbing shells over islands that you cannot see above. And once again, takes advantage of that to get some accurate salvos downrange at the Missouri. It's definitely a harder skill to master because you still have to kind of, I guess, look through the island and figure out where that guy is at. But once you do it enough, you'll get used to it, and you can see that he has landed a few salvos down on the Missouri, which is all good stuff. Now, unfortunately, his team has already lost 2 destroyers, and for the most part, ranked is even more focused on DD play than even random battles. If your DDs die early, it makes it very, very difficult to be able to win the game. Just because all of the spotting, well, that's the main thing. All of the spotting, but just the you know, capturing of all of the buffs that you get with those dudes as well. It's just, when you lose DDs early, it's exceptionally hard to come back. And you can see that his friend in the Chung Mu is, well, kind of off doing his own thing just outside of the A-cap, the key area, which just popped up on screen. But unfortunately, he's running headfirst into the Yugumo, and I'm not 100% sure if he's going to be able to get out of dodge. Now, unfortunately for Doyle, the Missouri comes around the corner, but he's able to use his nice rudder shift, only eats 1 penetration. You can see that the Buffalo is sitting there broadside. It looks like he's just starting to back up, and somebody touches him very, very hard. It was probably the Musashi, but it could have been the John Bart as well. Puts him down to about 200 hit points, so now Doyle is going to do some really good blind firing right here, keeping that wrist nice and steady, shooting at the last reported position. You saw there that first salvo, he was still up, but the second and third salvos that he shot with his rear turrets, he could not see that guy, and he was able to get 2 very good salvos downrange as he picks off that Tier 9 American heavy cruiser. So very good shooting right there. You know, again, you got to keep that wrist nice and locked, so as soon as they go undetected, you can keep that aiming reticle exactly where you need it. And that Buffalo paid the price for some very good blind firing. Well, not blind firing, but you know, firing just after the guy went undetected, so you kind of got to give a good educated guess. And once again, he manages to dodge yet another salvo there from that Missouri, Captain Evans, who is now in a very bad position. He's at below 10,000 hit points, as Doyle picks up the high caliber at 84,000 damage dealt. And now this guy is backing up. He is using one of his heals, but unfortunately, he's on fire and he's shooting. There's no way he's going to get undetected in time, so Doyle is most likely going to get this kill unless something ridiculous happened, and that would entail him getting Citadel, but this guy once again whiffs because of the rudder shift and a little bit of bad RNG on that salvo. So This kill is Doyle's. He's just going to take advantage of it. But you can see that in ranked, even though his team is now down all 3 destroyers, you can kind of see that there's still a chance. I mean, they're only down 120 points, and nobody is going to get the cap on that A point anytime soon. So the Buffalo's dead. They'll get the Missouri taken care of here, and that'll be 2 enemy ships down. Now, of course, there are still 3 DDs, and it's going to be very difficult for them to still win this game. So one of the other things that needs to happen is the Musashi and the Jean Bart, they need to stay alive. It doesn't matter if they get kills or damaged necessarily. They just need to be able to stay alive so they can contest that middle point as long as possible, because, of course, Doyle is quite a bit away. He did have to get into a kiting position, but they're going to need to stay alive long enough for him to be able to get back into the battle in terms of being able to hunt down those enemy destroyers. Now, it looks like he's going to get the kill here on the Missouri. Shell's falling in on the bow, and he does pick up the Arsonist on that Tier 9 premium American battleship. So, second frag of the game. Good stuff there. He's now going to go full speed to get back into the battle. You can see that the enemy Musashi was down to about 1/3 hit points, so that last battleship that the enemy team has is not doing so hot right now. And being able to get that kill will be very important, and it'll certainly do a lot to help his team climb back and potentially get the victory in this game. You can see, however, that a couple of the enemy destroyers still have a decent bit of hit points to work with. The Black is at full health. Unfortunately, the Jean Bart is chasing down the Yagumo, and of course, that's not a very good thing to do because of the torpedo reload booster, which absolutely wipes him out. So now it's a 2 versus 4 situation, and of course, there are still 3 enemy DDs out there. Now, this Musashi is in a good spot, though, because he has full health. So he can afford to go forward and tank a little bit of damage, as long as he doesn't get absolutely nuked by torpedoes. Just all of the hit points that he has is going to make it a little bit more difficult for those enemy destroyers to be able to get the kill on him, because, of course, DD guns can only do so much to battleships with their Alpha Strike. So that Musashi needs to die, and his Musashi needs to not lose too many hit points, or it's going to make this even more difficult. Now, he still has 3 radars, and he still has 2 hydroacoustics, but probably the most important thing that he has is health. He's at 41,000 hit points. Obviously, he took a little bit of damage, but also one of the pickups that you get gives a little bit of a HP buff, kind of like the Yamamoto Captain. It just gives you free HP back. So, honestly, he's doing great hit point-wise, and as long as he doesn't eat any Citadels from this Musashi, it's going to be very difficult for those DDs to be able to kill him, because there is no Kitakaze on the board, which can lull pen pretty much the entirety of his ship, which is great. So now, as he comes around the corner, he's going to try to get some shells there into the Musashi. Looks like that guy is sticking his nose just a tiny bit too far around, and you saw that he did have his radar up, and unfortunately for him, the Jutland did stray into his radar range, but was completely safe behind that island, so he doesn't have to worry about eating any Seattle shells. So now Doyle is going to go into the middle part of the map, and this is where his gameplay gets turned up to 10, and this is probably one of the better examples of radar usage and just general Seattle gameplay that I've seen in a while. Totally not, patting you on the back, Doyle, but this is some pretty good stuff, so you guys will enjoy this. He's going to go in now. It's 360 to 520. His Musashi friend still has 80,000 hit points. You can see that his hydroacoustic is up for another 30 seconds, and it does detect a very large, widespread of torpedoes coming in on his position. And then, for some reason, this Jutland appears at about 7 kilometers away from him. He does get a shot off before he gets inside of his smokescreen, but things are not looking good because he still has to wait another 50 seconds for his next radar to come back. So, and his hydro is about to go down. And of course, that was only one set of torpedoes that came by. You got to think that the Black and the Jutland are probably going to be launching torpedoes as well. Here comes the next set. Probably the reload booster from the Yagumo, or maybe not. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of torpedoes in the water, and fortunately, it seems that the Musashi's spotting aircraft was actually able to get a poke on those torpedoes. I think, actually, I don't remember if scouting aircraft detect torpedoes anymore. Either way, those torpedoes got spotted. The Jutland's got to get out of his smokescreen at about 4 kilometers to try to get away from Doyle. And then he makes a very smart play right here. He knows the torpedoes to his starboard as he picks up the Witherer are, of course, going to be on reload. So instead of going around the corner, he wants to wait until his Musashi pushes forward before he tries to pick a fight with the enemy Musashi. And his buddy does manage to kill the Jutland, which is very important, brings the score down. He's only losing 80 points at this point. But now that Musashi is going full head of steam around the corner, hopefully that will distract the enemy Musashi enough to where he's going to have to deal with that new threat, and then Doyle can come charging around the corner and get some shells downrange while that guy is reloading. But you can see this Musashi's not dumb. He realizes that Doyle is the bigger threat, and as he's about ready to punch it full force and go around the corner, this Musashi is obviously still aiming at him because he knows that Doyle needs to die. So we're going to see if he's going to be able to dodge these shells. He's actually back to full health, as a matter of fact. Here comes Doyle, flying around the corner. Very good dispersion from the Musashi. He does manage to bounce a couple of the shells. The guy did about 14,000 points of damage, but now the Musashi kicks the bucket, as his friendly Musashi, which I've said now a million times in the last minute, manages to kill that guy, or chunk him down heavily so then Doyle could get the kill. So at this point, he's got his radar and his hydroacoustic ready to go. So these destroyers are going to be in for a nasty treat here, as they're now actually both kind of in the west-southwest portions of the map. But of course, Doyle, now using his radar, spots the enemy Yugumo at about 6 kilometers. He does eat 2 torpedoes as that guy got him to turn broadside, so Doyle is not doing too hot all of a sudden. He's down to 5,000 hit points. So good play by the Yugumo, getting him to turn back to the right and right into his torpedoes, but because Doyle had so many hit points, he did not kick the bucket from it. So now he's going undetected to try and wait to start shooting at this black until he gets all of his guns trained on target. The black starts to open fire on him, but of course the Seattle's rate of fire and these guns are able to do very nasty things to those little Lola boats. He also picks up Confederate as he forces the black to move forward, which is great. He's down to 5,200 hit points. He now gets a main battery gun boost to his reload, so you can see now that the reload is down to 4.2 seconds. Adrenaline rush is kicking in as well. This Yugumo, oof, yeah, this is not a good idea, bro. Not sure what that was all about. He kills off the enemy DD, and now he switches his focus back to the enemy black. He's sitting on 4 kills. The Kraken is awaiting him. Big hit there. Double fire, over 4K damage. Second salvo goes down, does about 1,100. The next salvo, he manages to get over the island just in time. Another fire, another amount of damage. Picks up the Kraken, and that's the end of the game. Alrighty guys, taking a look at the post-battle results. Sorry for the terrible quality of this, but this is what Doyle sent me, so yeah, you can blame him. 695,000 credits received, 14,400 total experience earned. I'd imagine this was his first win of the day, but I don't know for sure. He picked up 6 medals, including Arsonist, Confederate, Kraken Unleashed, Dreadnought, Witherer, and High Caliber, dealing 187,000 points of damage off of 282 shell hits. He sank 5 ships out of 6, set 13 fires, and did a whole bunch of really good stuff to help his team to victory. Taking a look at the team score, there we go, much better. 3,415 base XP. That is a monster result, regardless of random battles or ranked. Very hard carrying going on right there. So, Mr. Doyle, thanks for sending in the replay. It was a pleasure to commentate on, and hopefully I did a good job commentating on your replay, which I kind of just said that, but whatever. And, of course, we hope you guys enjoyed the replay as well that are watching this. So with that being said, Snack Boy is out for BIA World of Warships. Also, in the comments below, let us know what you guys think about the updated logo and the channel art on our YouTube, of course, and Discord. We had some very nice folks out in California take care of that for us. It cost a little bit of money, but it definitely looks a lot more modern and clean, nice and cut. And we were very happy with what they gave us. So let us know what you guys think below. And with that being said, we'll talk to you later.